Did you know that cats are responsible for the death of billions of mammals a year? How can something with such an adorable face cause the extinction of over 63 species of animals around the world? In this video, we're going to be exploring the most interesting facts about cats and other amazing animals living on our planet. We now live in a time where pets are seen as members of the family in many societies. People keep a wide variety of animals as pets, not just for practical purposes, but also for the joy and companionship they provide. Now, this joy and companionship isn't often a one-way street. Pets, commonly cats and dogs, are very social animals and can feel distressed when separated from their owners. Fortunately for them as our pets, they get to benefit from our heavily researched knowledge of animals, whether that is medicine or just entertainment. Take for example, in the early 1980s, the average lifespan of a household cat was 7 years. In 1995, it increased to 9.4, before hitting a whopping 15 years in 2021. There are many contributing factors to this, but having the option of neutering completely eliminates the possibility of certain types of cancer. An improvement in pet food, medicine, and people just generally spending more on their pets all play a part in this. It's worth noting that unlike dogs, which were domesticated from wolves through a more deliberate process of selective breeding, the domestication of cats was more spontaneous and less controlled. Genetically, they're very similar to their ancestors. The reason why your pet cat pounces for a dangly toy is because it triggers their hunting instinct. The toy resembles small animals, like mice and insects, that cats evolved to prey on. You might think of this as some harmless behavior, but it is no joke. I want to introduce you to Tibbles. Tibbles the cat. Over 100 years ago, Tibbles resided on Stevens Island, a small island off the coast of New Zealand. Tibbles was the pet to a lighthouse keeper who moved to the island. A near-extinct species of bird called the Lyle's wren had their last refuge in Stevens Island, but unfortunately for them, their flightless nature made them the perfect prey for a cat. In the span of a little over a year, Tibbles single-handedly eradicated the Lyle wren species. Not only that, Tibbles would bring dead birds to her owner as presents. Although this might seem odd, when a cat brings back dead animals, it's actually acting out their natural role as a mother and teacher. Human owners represent the cat's surrogate family, and they're teaching us how to catch and eat prey, just as they would teach their young in the wild. As crazy as the story sounds, the legend of Tibbles was debunked during a study in 2004. The study concluded that it was actually numerous feral cats that contributed to the extinction of the Lyle's wren. Regardless, a cat's predatory capabilities should not be underestimated, and you should know that in the US, feral and free-ranging domestic cats kill billions of mammals annually. Have you ever been stuck inside a room where you knew a mosquito was flying around waiting to attack? You're on high alert, the mosquito's gonna land on you at any moment now, and you try your best to go about your day and you feel something on your arm and you quickly swipe it away, but there was nothing there. That random feeling is something called formication. Static electricity can occasionally cause your hairs to move around, giving a sensation that insects are crawling on your skin. If you see a mosquito, spider, or bug, it can also trigger a heightened sense of alertness or anxiety. Your brain becomes more attuned to sensations on your skin, making you more likely to notice small movements or sensations that you might otherwise ignore. Starfish, an animal that many of us at first thought associate with the cartoon character Patrick Star. Contrary to its name, a starfish isn't actually a fish, but an echinoderm, a group of animals with no blood, bones, or brain. What's unique about a starfish is that they have regenerative abilities. They are capable of recovering their whole body from only a single arm. The whole process of regeneration can take several months to complete, and the exact duration depends on factors like the species, size of the starfish, and other environmental conditions. Despite this immortal-like attribute, starfish are actually very fragile. They have tiny structures all over their body that can be damaged by a single poke, and are very easily contaminated with bacteria that can come from a human's hand. They are very prone to bacterial infection and will also suffocate outside of seawater, so if you see a starfish, it's best to leave it alone. Koalas are mammals native to Australia and are often referred to as koala bears due to their bear-like appearance. However, unfortunately for them, Koalas have the smallest brain-to-body ratio in comparison to most other mammals. Their intellect is so low that if you were to place a koala in an empty room full of eucalyptus leaves, which is their main diet, they would not even recognize it as food and potentially starve to death. They lack the ability to connect the fact that it's still food given that the leaves have moved off of the tree and onto a new source that they're unfamiliar with. If you look closely at a koala's fingers, you'll notice that it looks almost identical to a human fingerprint. In fact, they're so similar that, according to Ripley's Believe It or Not, police feared that criminal investigations may have been hampered by koala prints. While it makes sense for our close relatives, like the chimpanzees, to have fingerprints similar to ours, koalas are evolutionarily very different from humans, which makes this all the more shocking. This is a great example of convergent evolution, where vastly different species evolve with similar traits due to their environmental factors. In this case, a koala's finger evolved in such a way to help them identify their strict preferences for eucalyptus leaves. Also native to Australia is this little guy right here, the Antechinus, also known as a marsupial mouse. Despite its name and very rat-like appearance, the Antechinus is more closely related to koalas and kangaroos. There's something special about the Antechinus, particularly the male Antechinus. Typically around the 11-month mark is when their mating season begins. And I'm not kidding when I say they kill themselves for sex. In the span of 14 hours, the male Antechinus gets a huge boost in testosterone levels, sending them into a frenzied sexual state, and then begins to mate with as many females as they can. At the end of the mating season, the male Antechinus is exhausted. This overexertion of energy causes their immune system to fail. Their fur begins to fall off, they bleed internally, and ultimately dies at a 100% mortality rate.